Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my NFL predictions as we get into the very last weeks of NFL season. You know, we're 2 months out from the Super Bowl. Who do I think is going to be there? Where do I think teams are going to finish? Who's going to be meeting in that AFC Championship and NFC Championship game? Stick around to find out. For the most part, guys, my form this season in the NFL has been elite at tipping. Besides this current week gone, my God, going very poorly at the moment, and there's still a couple of games to go. Hopefully some points, but my God, very bad week for tipping for me. But let's get into where I think teams will finish. Starting off at the bottom, obviously I've got in the NFC, I've got the Carolina Panthers. I've got them with a record of 2-15. They've had a really poor season, and I can't see anyone else finishing below them besides the Cardinals. But even then, I think the Cardinals should finish above the Carolina Panthers there in the NFC. Over in the AFC, I've got the New England Patriots. They've also been really poor this season. Got a nice win against the Steelers, but I just don't think they're going to do much else this year. Got them with a record of 4-13 for that one. And then also in 15th in the AFC, I have the Tennessee Titans. Now, it's an interesting one, but the Tennessee Titans have not been great this year, and I don't think they can be great coming into these last few weeks either. I think they're, gone. I've got them going 4 wins and 12 losses overall for the season. 15th, I mentioned I have the Arizona Cardinals. Now, as we get into the actual playoffs themselves, we'll start off with the number 1 seeds. Now, over in the AFC, with a record of 13-4, I've actually got the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens have been on a really big run mid-part to this end part of the season. They've been out of games going into them at the end. You know, even that game today against the Rams, they find a way to win. They've been a very gritty team, and they have a great offense, and they're getting better on defense as well. So I really like what I'm seeing from the Ravens, and I think that they can be at the top of the AFC. Second place in the AFC, I've got the Miami Dolphins. I was very high on the Miami Dolphins. Their defense is good, but I do think there's other teams that's defense is great. Their offense is lethal though, and they're a massive chance of going to the Super Bowl. I've got them with a record of 11-5. And then in third place, I've got my team, the Kansas City Chiefs, beaten by the Buffalo Bills today. Our defense has not been great at all in recent weeks, and I'm really worried, but I still think we can win some of these games. So 11-6 for the Kansas City Chiefs, finishing in the 3rd seed. In the 4th seed, I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, a little bit of injury for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They obviously had Trevor Lawrence play today, which is big for them, and he probably will play next week as well, which is fantastic. I've got them going 11-6, the same record there as the Chiefs, and in 4th position because I think they've kind of almost locked up the playoff spot from how good they've been this year. In 5th place, I have got the Cleveland Browns. Now, interesting one for the Browns. They've been really up and down, but their defense is really solid, and I still think they can win some of these games in their schedule. So I've got them going 10-7 and securing the number 5 seed in the playoffs. And then number 6, I have Houston Texans. The Texans have been a surprise packet of the year. You know, they were beaten by the Jets today, but I think they can get back to their form and go back home, get some victories on the board. Texans, I've got 10-7 records, so that is my AFC playoff picture. Now, as we move into the NFC, in the number 1 seed, going into this final game, I had the Dallas Cowboys in the number 1 seed, a team that I actually thought would be around that 3rd, 4th position, but they really impressed me. Their defense has always been good, but their offense, they're scoring an average of 30 points per game. But I actually have the San Francisco 49ers just by a nose. I've got them at 13-4 record. They had those 3 games that they blew, and I still think they potentially could lose one more game, even if it's, in the last week, if they rest everyone to prepare for the playoffs. But 13-4, really nice season there for the Niners. Mention them in 2nd spot. I've got the Dallas Cowboys, also 13-4. The Dallas Cowboys looking really lethal. Nice little schedule coming up for the Dallas Cowboys as well. They seem like one of the teams to beat right now. In the number 3 seed, I've got the Detroit Lions. They've started to slip away recently, but I still think they're a pretty good team. Got them with a record of 11-6, so a couple more losses than those, top 2 seeds in the NFC, but, still getting themselves a home final. If they can get this home final, it's going to be massive for them. If they do have to go on the road, it's going to be a big test for Detroit, and I think their mindset of wanting to win a playoff game will be massive. Number 4, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I've actually got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that their win today against the Falcons was so big, and I think that they are actually going to sneak into these playoffs a little bit higher than people think. Tampa can go on a bit of a run with the schedule that they've got, and I think Tampa are actually going to be in the playoffs. Tampa record 8-9, finishing in the 4 seed. The number 5 seed, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. What a drop-off for the Eagles in recent weeks. They've been blown out by a team. Still think they can get a couple of wins coming into these last few weeks, but I do have them with a record of 12-4, so I expect another loss for the season as we wrap up those last couple of weeks, but Philly will absolutely be there. But yeah, I've got them there in the 5th seed. In the 6th seed, I have the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Rams have gone on a massive run in recent weeks, especially. They're looking like a more complete team. And the thing is, they're competing against good teams like the Baltimore Ravens as well. So 6th seed, 10-7 record for the LA Rams. And the final spot is for the Green Bay Packers. I've got them at 9-8. I think the Packers are playing with confidence. Played really, really poorly at the start of the year. Couple games at home, and a couple of very important wins in recent weeks. They got the Giants tomorrow, which is going to be interesting, but I think the Packers are going to sneak in there in the 7th seed. And I did forget to mention, guys, in the AFC, the 7th seed, I do have the Denver Broncos. Can't believe the Broncos and the Packers are going to be in the playoffs in my prediction. 10-7 record. Just missing out the Buffalo Bills with 9-8, really close to having them. And also the Cincinnati Bengals, a record of 9-8, just missing out there. And Denver Broncos, I think their wins have been very important. They had a nice win streak, and I think they will be in the playoff as well as the Green Bay Packers. Okay, so let's talk about the wild card round. In the wild card round, I would have the Cleveland Browns traveling to Jacksonville to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Cleveland Browns have lost to Sean Watson. The Jags are playing with a banged up Trevor Lawrence, but the Browns have great defense. They were able to beat the Jaguars recently. But I would have the Jaguars winning this game. I think they have shown that they can come back even if they are from behind in certain games. They've been really, really close to kind of these comebacks, even in that game where these teams previously met. So I'd have the Jags advancing and eliminating the Cleveland Browns there. Could be a different game if they were as healthy as they should be. Then the Houston Texans will take on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. CJ Stroud versus Patrick Mahomes will be an awesome battle. I'd be very excited for this one, but I'd also be very nervous because the Texans have been very, very good this season. I would actually have the Chiefs here. If this was a regular season game, I might have the Texans, but I think in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have that experience, have that depth within the side as well. So I just think that the Chiefs would actually get past the Texans, but it's been a fantastic season for the Houston Texans, finishing in the 6th seed and surprising everyone's expectation. Number 7 seed in the AFC, the Denver Broncos heading to Miami to take on the Dolphins. I'd have the Dolphins here. I think their offense is just going to be too good for Denver, and as good as Denver's season has been, I have them bowing out against Miami. So in the NFC, you've got the 5th seed Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. Massive advantage for Tampa being at home here. But I would have the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it will be tight, but I think that Philly would win by 10 points or under. I don't think it'll be a massive blowout score, but I think that the Eagles beat Tampa there in the NFC. Then you'd have the Rams taking on Detroit in Detroit. This is a very hard game to pick because the Detroit Lions have been really, really good this season, but they've started to slip a little bit away, whereas the Rams seem to be hitting another gear and flying coming into these playoffs. But I'm going to take Detroit here. I think that their mindset coming into these playoffs is to get that home final and at least get past week 1. So I would have the Detroit Lions defeating the Rams in a form upset, I think, at the time. because I think the Detroit Lions may drop off just a little bit. Then you've got the 7 seed Green Bay Packers taking on the Dallas Cowboys, and I think that the Dallas Cowboys at home should be way too strong for the Green Bay Packers in this one. So the Packers, Rams, and Bucks eliminated from the NFC, and the Browns, Texans, and Broncos bow out from the AFC. In the divisional round matchups, I would have the Kansas City Chiefs away, traveling to Miami to take on the 2nd seed Miami Dolphins. We saw them meet in Germany. They started to come back, but the Chiefs were able to get the job done. I actually have got the Dolphins here. I've got the Dolphins offense being way too good for the Chiefs being able to contain them. I know that the experience of the Chiefs is massive and they should be back in that AFC Championship game. But I do have the Dolphins. I'm going to be honest there. The Dolphins beat the Chiefs and eliminate them from the AFC. And the 4th place Jacksonville Jaguars take on the 1st place Ravens. The Ravens go into this game rested, obviously, because I've got them getting the 1 seed. And I think they will eliminate Jacksonville. Towards the start of the year, I actually had Jacksonville, Miami, I think, as my AFC pick. But at the moment here, I've obviously got the Dolphins and the Ravens as the AFC Championship game. Then in the NFC, you've got the Detroit Lions taking on the Dallas Cowboys. In Dallas, and I think Dallas would have too much firepower for Detroit. I really do. I think that Dallas seem to be one of the most formed teams in the competition right now. I was absolutely wrong about them, and I think that as great as Detroit have been this season, I don't think that they can get past the first 2 weeks of the playoffs. Then you would have the 5th seed Philadelphia Eagles take on the 1st seed Philadelphia 49ers in a rematch of last year. I would have the 49ers here. I think they're going to be too good for the Eagles, especially at home. I think it would be closer than that 45-point blowout, 45-19, something like that scoreline that we saw. I think, but the 49ers should win by at least, maybe 5 points. But yeah, I think the Niners and Cowboys will play it in the NFC Championship game. All right, so the last couple of weeks of NFL, I have got the AFC Championship Conference matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens. This is going to be a great matchup. Tua Tagovailoa taking on Lamar Jackson. Lamar's been fantastic this season. His rookie Zay Flowers has been great as well. Tyreek Hill has been having an MVP level season at the Dolphins, and the Dolphins, going on the road, it's going to be tough. Can they do it? I think they just fall short. I think that the Baltimore Ravens are riding way too much momentum to lose this AFC Championship game, because they finally got that chance that they've wanted for years, and they've got a fantastic roster as well in Baltimore. So I've got the Baltimore Ravens advancing to the Super Bowl. Then in the NFC matchup, you've got the 2nd place Dallas Cowboys taking it to the 49ers, a massive test for the Dallas Cowboys. The 49ers, the number 1 seed. Will it be the Dallas Cowboys at the 2 seed or the Niners at the 1 seed going at the Super Bowl? Both of these teams seem to be complete. Both of them have great defenses. Pretty good offense for both teams. Maybe slightly better for the Niners though. I'm going to have the Niners here. It's going to be a very tight game. It could even be 1 point in it. But I've got the 49ers taking on the Ravens. And for Super Bowl, I have Niners, Ravens. And I think that the Niners, I stuck with them earlier in the year. Even when they went on those couple of losses, I did stick by them. As much as the Ravens' momentum is, I think when they come up against McCaffrey, Purdy, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, there's just too much to like about that offense for mine. So yeah, I think that the 49ers are going to take out the Super Bowl. But guys, that is it for this video. Make sure you let me know your NFL predictions in the comments. I look forward to putting out my tips for the week as well. Subscribe to the channel and let me know your Super Bowl, and I'll see you guys later.